Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 12 Weeks of Christmas Empowerment Series at Team Beauty Official. We are in the month of December, officially at week 11. And let me tell you that I cannot believe that this series is almost over. Thank you to each and every single one of you who has continued to show up, to listen in, to share, to tag us, to share your takeaways with us. We truly appreciate you and hope that you have gotten tons of value from all of the series that we've done so far. And today is not going to be anything less. Let me tell you guys, you are in for a treat. One of my very, very good friends is connected with me all the way from LA in California. And when I see this girl, let me tell you something about her. You know, I see her so powerful, full of spunk, energy, charismatic. I mean, she is just so amazing. Whether you see her on stage or if you're just going to rub a shoulder with her, she's there to give you a smile, give you a hug, give you positivity. And that's what we love here. And so let me tell you a little bit about her before I actually bring her on. She actually started on her journey at the age of 19. She's a college dropout. Not that you guys wanted to know that, but I think it's important because when you hear her speak, you're going to be like, OMG. And, you know, over the last couple of years, she's been able to build an international business alongside her husband, which has an organization of 11 President's team members. They've helped earn over 6 figures. And today, actually moved back into her hometown where she grew up. They just bought their dream home. They're the very first to actually step into that house. And she's like to say, pee in the toilet. They are amazing dog owners of 3, have 5 cars, newlyweds. They just got married last year, and they are just amazing people. I am so honored to be able to have her inside of our podcast, sharing with us part of her story. So let's welcome on Miss Mel Clark Holyfield. How are you, my love?
Hey, what's up, Jerry at Team Beauty? Thank you so much for having me all the way from sunny LA, California. Excited to be here.
Yes, we love to have you on, you know, and for everybody that's listening, Mel, why don't we kick it off with sharing a little bit of your story? The topic that we have today is actually, you know, all about transformation and authenticity. And, you know, I love to see that, you know, in this podcast, whether you're watching it on Spotify or YouTube, you can actually see our video. So Mel is someone that is so spunky. Okay. You see her right away. Look at her tattoos, her awesome lashes all the way to her eyebrows, her blue hair, beautiful, beautiful woman that you are. Okay. And you know, a lot of the times when people, the first thing that they see, right, it's like, whether we like it or not, it's like, you know, that love at first sight, you know, that first impression. And, you know, I know when I first saw you, it was like the first thing that I noticed was your banging body. Sorry. But, you know, you're a white girl and you have an amazing big round butt. So for us Latinas, that's kind of like, oh my Lord, is that real?
This is all real, girl. This is all real.
So, you know, it's like, damn, like, how did she get there? Right. And so, why don't you share with us, you know, have you always been like this? Give us the good, share us your story from, you know, when you started, and then we'll go into, you know, what being our true selves and what has that meant for you here in your journey.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying. I'm flattered. Thank you for the comments. I'm glad I got your attention somehow because to even be noticed by Jerry is an award in itself. So I'm flattered. But, you know, yeah, you get to see me now and it's like, wow, like walk around with a shaved head and blue hair and a septum piercing, tattoos everywhere. You wouldn't even believe it, but I actually went to Catholic school from preschool through 8th grade. So I could be making up for lost time. Maybe I'm just over the uniform and I'm like, now let me express myself, right? But you know, I got introduced to the products 10 years ago. So I was 19 at the time. And when I was 19, I was just fresh out of high school. I played softball growing up. So I was always used to being an athlete with no idea about nutrition. The girls used to make fun of me because I'm 5 feet, right? And I have not grown at all since probably 5th grade. But anyways, the girls on the team used to make fun of me because before our softball games, we'd go to like Taco Bell and I would order like $20 worth of food. And you know, that's a freaking feast from Taco Bell. And the girls would be like, where are you putting all this? Right. So that was really what my eating habits were though. Like,
what kind of tacos would you order?
Oh girl, no, I wouldn't even I want the Mexican pizza. I want the Nachos Bel Grande. I need the Crunchwrap Supreme. And you have to always get the Baja Blast. It's like,
oh my goodness.
Why do I still know the order? Anyways, right. So, you know, that was my eating habits though. And like kind of how I grew up. And so when I got, you know, introduced to the products, it came from a point where I was done playing sports, but a girl I had played softball with was posting on Instagram. So this is 10 years ago before Instagram was cute. She was posting like screenshot photos from Google of the products. And I'm like, what is this stuff? Right. And, you know, at the time I was gaining weight. I was trying to lose it on my own, which meant let me just eat less and work out more, which ended up making me feel even worse, which then led me to needing energy. So I was through getting coffees 3-4 times a day, right? Just to keep going. And then obviously pants stopped fitting. And I was like, okay, what are we doing here? So I DM'd the girl that I saw on Instagram who I knew growing up. And I was like, what is this stuff you're posting about? What is this? She was like, come and try it. And I was like, okay. So I remember trying my first shake. It was a cinnamon roll shake in a nutrition club, right? And the tea with the aloe. And to be honest with you, I hated the tea because the aloe wasn't actually in the tea. That's a sin in itself. But anyways, so that tea sat there and the ice like melted and everything. That's when you know someone doesn't like the tea.
So sad. So sad.
So I tried everything and I was like, dang, this stuff tastes really good. I was like, but you know, how hard is it to make it? Right. Because how often have we gone to like Jamba Juice or something and it says, oh yeah, it's a strawberry banana smoothie, but then you actually try to make it at home and it just like tastes like trash. And you're like, no, it's not. So she showed me how easy it was to make the shake. And I was like, you know what? Let me try this stuff out and see what happens. So I immediately like got started on the products. I ended up dropping 13 pounds in 3 pant sizes pretty quickly. And I really didn't change much of my eating. And I just started to feel so good, right? So this is Mel 10 years ago. I had long blonde hair, no tattoos, no piercings on my face, right? I was definitely outspoken, but not in maybe a confident way. It was more of an insecure way. I was always the first person to like poke jokes at myself, right? I always would label myself as I'm just sarcastic, or some people don't like me because I'm too blunt for them, right? I used to use those almost like as labels for myself that at the time I thought that it was because I'm just so loud and crazy and this is just who I am. But now looking back, it was a very insecure version of myself that was looking to, you know, say those things because I didn't want someone else to say them about me. So I would rather make fun of myself or say things about myself or poke fun at other people to kind of maybe avoid some insecurity that I had. So got started on the products, started losing weight like crazy. I was working retail at the time. My first job was at Tilly's. And all the girls would be like, what are you drinking, right? Because you walk in with a cup with something in it. It doesn't have a label on it. People are like, what is it? So all I would tell people, Jerry, I didn't even know what I was drinking at the time. I'd be like, I don't know, try it. That was literally how my business started. I was the girl too that would like just take all the products to like the back room. I wouldn't even like, some girls are like really cute and organized and like, I pre-scoop my shakes. No girl, I'm like, give me the canisters, throw them in my tote bag. Let me go on my way. So I'm showing up to work with like these big old canisters, shaker cups. And people would ask like, what is this stuff? I'd be like, I have no idea, but I just lost 13 pounds. You want to try it? And I just would shove shakes in people's mouths. It's literally how I started the business. And from that, you know, coworkers started asking me about getting started on things. I started really taking this coaching thing seriously. I was someone that was very involved in school. I was the girl that ran the group projects. You were probably that way too.
Yes, that was me.
Yeah. I feel like those types of people, we find each other. And it's like, you know what? just show up the day of, I got this, I'm getting us an A, right? And so I had that type of like work ethic and personality. So for me, when I got introduced to coaching, I took it very seriously like that too. I followed up on my clients. I sent them birthday cards. I did little Easter basket, little things with Easter eggs that had cellulose tablets in them, like so cute. Like, right. So
you have the creative turned on for sure.
Oh my gosh, you mean like there's no rules on how you do this? You just get to do it. And I'm like, I love this. And, over the years, helping friends, family, making that extra income, which was crazy. I was living at home at the time, right? I didn't really have many bills. And I love that this is a female dominant audience because I can talk about this. I remember when I first got started in the business, right? And they asked you to put a goal. They're like, you need to come up with a goal. And I'm sitting there 19. My mom, I don't pay rent. I didn't pay for whatever. I came from a very well-off like family. I didn't have to worry about any of those things. And so for me, when they're like, come up with a goal, I'm like, I want to buy boobs. And they're like, you want to what? I was like, I want to buy boobs for myself.
Yes.
So that was honestly my first goal, and again, this can paint the picture for you onto where my level of self-confidence was, right? Like that was my goal that I wanted. And we can, of course, that's an episode for a different day on, what do those things really mean to us? But I definitely wanted to feel confident in a female body. I really was flat chested. I did not have anything there. And so I was like, wow, this is a way I can make money. And sure enough, I actually saved up for it in 5 months. And I just told my mom, I was like, hey, by the way, like I'm getting my boobs done next month. She was like, the hell you are? Like, where? And I was like, I actually called your doctor. I was like, and I have a consultation. And she was like, how are you paying for this? I was like, I'm actually paying cash. Do you know how good that felt? At 19 years old.
Yes.
So, that was my first goal,
Boss babe right there. Hello.
Right? It's like set that goal for yourself, and it's okay if it's yourself is that goal, and that was what got me excited and motivated and really just like kickstarted my business. And from there, in and out of college, I thought I wanted to go to school to be a doctor, change that to want to go to school to be a teacher. I heard on one of the other episodes too, one of the other girls talked about becoming a teacher also because of all the things we think are attractive about a teacher, right? Summers off, like Christmas off. Teachers probably listening to this are like, yeah, freaking right. We work every day, right? But you just think like, wow, that looks like so much fun. Like, and what attracted me to it was that you would have the creativity to create curriculum, to do new things every day, to bond with kids, to make an impact. And again, obviously I wasn't looking at the paycheck because teachers do not make clearly enough of what their value is. And so for me, I was more attracted to having fun and doing something I love versus like a paycheck. So it connected really well with the business too, because I was like, wow, I can have so much freedom inside of this. I get to choose how I want to work this. I get to impact lives. And, of course, along the way, ended up at my first event, started hearing all the income across the stage. And I was just like, you get to make this from doing that? Like how is that even possible? Right? Because I'm thinking I need to go to school and get this crazy degree and have experience to live that lifestyle. And I was exposed to it through this opportunity. And now, 10 years later, with so much along the way, to be living in a dream home, to be making in a month what I was looking at making annually as a teacher is just insane. And then to be able to have the freedom to make an impact and for it all to be tied around, health, fitness, nutrition, and happiness, really.
Amazing, Mel. And, the fact that it was able to take you as you were too, from right where you were, with how, the things that you knew, with how you thought, your personal experience and loud and all, right? Like it took you as you were and accepted you. And I think that's the awesome part about the opportunity. And, as we work around women, one of the things that I love is that we get to choose who we work with. And so our team, we have men on our team because it's been able to impact households, right? Like when the woman is good, when the lady feels good, right? At the end of the day, our house, it has a direct impact, through our husbands, our kids, and but we get to focus on what we want to focus on, right? And I personally love having these women transformation challenges where, we get to work with each other on this part, right, of transformation. How do I go from where I am to where I want to be? And I think it's an amazing topic to go into because we're rounding up to finish off the year, right? Christmas is next week. New Year's is right around the corner. And a lot of us are already thinking like, let me get through these holidays so I can start, new year, new me, or whatever that looks like, right? But, for you, you started off the call saying like, what you see is not, how I was. And so transformation, so many times, especially when we join a challenge, it could look like I'm going to go from 0 to 100. Like next week, I'm not going to like bread. I'm going to be, I'm going to wear a waist trainer and look so snatched, in 2 days. And, we want to look in the mirror and see the difference in 2 days. And then we become unhappy because it's not coming in a microwavable format, right? So what's your take on transformation? What's your take on, becoming? Because at the end of the day, I think that's the sweet spot, right? Understanding what that looks like. So what's your personal perspective, when we talk about not only like losing 30 pounds, okay, because it goes beyond that.
Right. And I think so much of what you just said is so relatable, but especially with like the microwavable results, right? Or going from that 0 to 100. And I feel like when I first started, right, I started out of a place of I'm done feeling the way I'm feeling. And to be honest, I feel like that's the first step in really starting a transformation journey is you have to get to that point. You have to get to that point where you're just done, right? It's like, I think it's in that one video that Les Brown talks about, right? There's like a dog on the porch and he's kind of crying a little bit. And the person walking by is like, why is your dog crying on the porch? And he's like, oh, he's laying on a nail. And the person's like, well, why doesn't he get up? He's like, oh, it must not hurt bad enough. And I think that that's the part, right? Like so many times when I speak with women and even I look back on my own journey and I'm like, why did I feel like I reverted back, right? Or I started to gain a little bit of success. I started to feel a little bit of results. And then all of a sudden I quote unquote, I love when people say, I fell off the wagon, right? Or I fell off whatever. And especially around the holidays, it can be very easy, right? For us to go back into those ways. And so I feel for myself, it's because until you're in that point of ultimate discomfort where I have got to make a change, the change won't last unless you're in that depth of uncomfortable feeling where you're like, I am so done being here. And you can only be the one to get yourself in that space, right? Because let's be real, you can scroll on social media and find all the kind of quick fixes that you want. You can lemon cayenne your waist trainer up and cut out bread for the rest of your life, like whatever, right? Like there's so many quick fixes for you to lose a certain amount of weight in a certain amount of days, sure. But is that actually something that's going to be sustainable for you? And is that something that's actually going to lead you to becoming a new version of yourself? Because, right, like anyone can be like, sure, let me do it for 3 days. But it's like, what actually happened in those 3 days? You told yourself you were so bad if you ate a piece of bread. It's like, that's not what we're looking at becoming. We're learning how do we love ourselves through all of that? How do we maybe make the next choice a healthier choice versus saying, I need to wait till Monday, or I need to wait until the next day, or, then it turns into that self-sabotage on the inside too. And then our mental game gets thrown off. Then we start talking to ourselves some type of way. Then we don't go to the gym, then our energy, and then our sleep, and then the household, right? And it's just this snowball. And so I think the first step for any type of transformation is you've got to be really ready to make that choice for yourself, nobody else. Yes, I'm sure you have kids and they're a great motivation for you to go in and get your workout in. But at the end of the day, you've got to be the one that's like, I'm making this decision for myself, because that's going to be the thing that's going to get you to stick with it. Right. And we obviously know that what we put into our bodies gets shown up on the outside, right? Because the only way that our body starts to look some type of way is because of 80% nutrition, 20% fitness. So it's always a reflection of what we're eating, but so much of what we choose to put in our body has to do with our own mental space that we're in too. The way that we eat is a reflection of how we feel. So if we're looking at our eating choices as a reflection of that, it can also give us a window in to maybe some things that we get to look at and we get to work on, right? Because if I'm so excited to be eating fruits and vegetables and high protein and all those things, usually my inside, I'm feeling pretty energetic too. I'm feeling on top of my game. It's like, but how am I feeling when I sit down with the bag of chips or the thing of ice cream, or I'm driving through Starbucks again? It's like, usually I'm feeling something inside and maybe I don't want to look at it. So I'd rather just grab a piece of food or grab something else and avoid it. And I think that inside of my own journey, I've been willing to look at my whole life as a part of my lifestyle diet nutrition program versus my workout, my food, or my workouts.
Separate.
Like, right. It's like, it's a full encompassing. And I think that sometimes when we talk about the 0 to 100, people want to say, okay, Monday morning, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm doing 20 minutes of cardio. And then I'm going to have my tea. I'm only going to drink water. When in reality, you don't actually get up till 9 a.m. usually. You like to, go for a walk instead of do a boxing cardio class, right? It's like, we almost feel like we have to throw ourselves into this entire new way of being versus just look at where we're at now and what's one healthy step that we can make forward. So I think that inside of my own transformation, one, it's get to that place where I'm ready to make that decision. Two, it's finding what's that first healthy step that I can make that feels really good for me, that's not going to overwhelm. And then you just build and build and build, and consistency and consistency and consistency. And it starts to become part of your lifestyle. And I think that's why I know that's why I've been able to stick with it for 10 years, right? Like I dropped 13 pounds 10 years ago and I've kept it off and totally reshaped my body in 10 years. And it's because it started from that. It was building one habit to the next, to the next, to the next. Like you have to have a day 1 in order to get to a day 3, but you also have to have a day 3 in order to get to a day 5. And I think if we're constantly trying to start over, we're constantly saying day 1, okay, another day 1, okay, another day 1. We're not actually taking in the feedback of like, why aren't we staying consistent with this? Because if you're feeling that kind of like always falling off the bandwagon, I would love to like have you define what's the wagon, because what wagon are you falling off of? Is it a wagon of unrealistic expectations that like, okay, I love the 75 hard thing, like good for them. That's not my reality, to work out 2 times a day and drink all this water and walk 10,000 steps and do the 20 minutes of personal development through pay. Some of my days don't always look like a checklist was marked off. However, I do have the basics of my habits that I can check off. Maybe it's not 20 minutes of personal development every day. Maybe I at least got 10 in here and another 5 there. Maybe it wasn't walking 10,000 steps, but I did a 20-minute workout instead of getting my steps in. So I think it's just a matter of like, we get to, along our journey, identify what are the habits that are going to build us that lifestyle that we're really looking to live inside of. So that way we're not always jumping from challenge to this, to that, to that. It's like every day is a challenge for me. Every day is part of my challenge. Like I'm not waiting for Monday or the new year.
And you get to build off of that, because a lot of people, I think the frequently asked questions, right, is how do you stay so motivated all the time? How are you so, upbeat all the time? How do you, because we all have life, right? But what is it that keeps us on this thing called consistency? And you said something so, to me that was like, and it was like, what wagon are you on that you fall off all the time? And it's like, it doesn't even have anything to do probably with the product, but with our personal expectation. And I think, if you write this down or rewind or whatever you have to do, but, it's what is my personal expectation for myself so I don't feel like a loser or like I failed all the time. And then I'm scared to get up again because I'm going to fail again.
That part.
So yes. And so, I think that's so important, that you touched that, because it's what allows you to become motivated is when you start seeing a result. Like first you're how does it, like hopeful, like, oh my God, like I'm getting started. I'm doing this. Right. And you make that decision. or you're fully disgusted, on how you've lived your life or how you feel, and you make a decision. But then after making a decision, what's going to keep us going, or at least for me, right, has been that excitement of the current result that allows me to keep going. And so inside of you and your journey, Amel, this thing called mental strength, or not caring about what people think of you, and reshaping your body. I think it's really aligned with reshaping our mindset, right? Like, obviously who you were 10 years ago is not who you are, or how you think today, or maybe even your goals. I mean, you got the boobs and you got the butt. So, I mean, those goals have definitely been checked and changed. So, when we're working on that, reshaping our body, what was it for you that was like, that's the girl I'm chasing? I want to know, right? Because I mean, not that every girl after this podcast is going to go color her hair blue or pink or purple, right?
Or go buy boobs. You don't have to do that either.
No, or you don't have to go get a tattoo, right? But it's like, when was it that you were like, this is the girl that I'm chasing, and I'm going after that. This is what I want, this is how I want to feel, look, what was it for you that, because at first it could be that, right? For me, I think it's always been, I just want to be able to be healthy. Maybe I'm not looking for like a 6-pack, right? But, I want to be able to have a flat belly, like sit down and not have rolls, feel good about myself and those things. But when I work on that, it makes me mentally stronger, when I'm on point with all of those things. So for you, what was it that you're like, this is who I want to be, in 10 years? Now you're 29, right? Do you already see like, this is the girl that I'm chasing at 39? Like, what does that look like? And I mean, I think this could be so good because we're going into a new year, and like, maybe you're just thinking about January 1st, but are you thinking about the woman that you want to be in the next 5 or 10 years and what that looks like?
So good. And I feel like where it started for me is, yes, with the health and fitness journey, because all of a sudden when you start to do a workout, right, or you start to follow a nutrition plan, you start to build that sense of confidence in yourself that you can do something and stick to it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I did that. And I started to build this inner resilience, this inner belief in myself of like, I can do this, right? Because I think that so often we don't pay attention a lot to how we talk to ourselves. And it's so easy, right? Like, negative is natural, positive is on purpose. And it's so easy for us to be consumed by sometimes these words that honestly sabotage our journey, right? One of these words that I'm referring to is try. Right? I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to make it to the gym 3 times a week. I'm trying this new meal plan. I'm trying to stick to it. That word try, it already allows ourselves to fail. It's allowing ourselves to be okay with the fact that I might not do this. And I think that early on, when you start to do workouts, right? You attend a workout class, you do a new workout, something, you start to take that try out of your head. You didn't just try to do a push-up, you just did it. You didn't try to just show up to the workout. You did it. You came and you did it. And so often I started to catch myself on like, wait, I'm not trying to do this. I am doing this. And there was a sense of empowerment inside of when I started to realize that I am my own superhero in this. Like, I am my own savior. I am the one that gets to do this. I am the one that can make the decisions. And that powerful phrase of I am really started to set the context of how I started to talk to myself. And I started to really embody, even when I didn't feel that way, right? Before I was like, had long hair, no tattoos and all this stuff. And I would think like, oh, I could never be the girl that had that confidence to do what she wanted with her hair. And then as soon as I started to build this inner confidence with myself from my own results, from my own following my own nutrition plan, I started to be like, wait, but like, why not? Why not try it, right? Because that's the other thing too. Inside of fitness and nutrition, we are constantly doing things for the first time. We are doing things brand new. And sometimes new can be scary, but I also like to relabel it as maybe it's not scary, maybe it's just exciting. Maybe it's because I've never felt that before, or I've never done that thing before. That's why I'm scared of it. And I think inside of your fitness and health journey, you do so many things for the first time. You start to be okay with pushing yourself to those unknown limits, right? In those uncertain areas. So I started to build this inner confidence in me, right? Because the first time you walk into the gym versus the fifth time you walk into the gym, two completely women. You walk in the first time, you probably have it written down in your notes on your phone. You got a whole playlist saved because you want to make sure you got good music going. This fifth time you walk in, you're like, shit, I forgot my headphones. I have no water. You know what? We're just going to figure it out, right? And so that inner trust that I built with myself really started to allow me to be okay with wanting to express myself in different ways. So I started to build that, like, and Brian and I started dating at this time, and I still had long hair. It was all one color. And I was like, you know, I kind of think about cutting my hair. And in the past, I had been told things by ex-boyfriends or whatever, like, don't you ever cut your hair? Like, I only like women with long hair. And so I believed these people's stories. And I was like, oh, I have to show up this type of way because this is what they like, right? This is what's going to get me love from everyone else. But when I started to build that self-love within myself, and I was proud of who I was because of my habits, my actions, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about cutting my hair. Brian's response, okay, do it. I was like, did I just get permission to like be who I want to be right now? Like, did I just have someone believe in me also as I'm believing in myself? And all I needed was that little bit of permission that he gave me that he didn't even need to give me, but he did. He's like, so do it. And I'm like, okay. So we went shorter and shorter, shaved it all off. And I was like, you know what? I feel so great. And it's so crazy that when you start to make those empowered decisions on like, this is how I want to show up, you start standing up differently. All of a sudden you walk into Trader Joe's and you're grabbing your groceries and the girl's like, you look so good. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just eating healthy, working out, loving my life. And she's like, you vibe different. And people start to notice that. And so then, you know, again, it was that first I did 1 push-up, then I did 2, then I did 3, then I did 5, then 15, right? First I cut my hair, then I wanted a tattoo, then I wanted to pierce my face, then I wanted to be able to go on stages and speak how I wanted to speak and dress how I want to dress. It's like all of these little tiny decisions and actions and the consistency over time started to like let this melt out that's been inside for so long, that's been covered up by my own insecurities, or girls are supposed to look like this, or we're supposed to dress like this, or my hair is supposed to look one way, or my body's supposed to look one way. It's like I started to realize, like, what do I want? And how do I want to feel in my own skin? And once you just start doing a little bit and a little bit, and it might just start with making a choice on like, what do you want to wear when you go work out? Oh, I want to wear the purple pants instead of the black ones. Like, okay, cool. And how do you want to wear your hair when you go to the gym? And where do you want to work out today? What time do you want? It's like you start to just realize that you're just in so much control of your own life.
That's so powerful. And it's so empowering. You know, I'm smiling from ear to ear and nodding as I listen to you. And it's so empowering because, you know, that end result that we're looking for, that woman that we're chasing, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, we could feel so many times, which I was talking to my husband about this the other day, like so many times we could feel like there's something that's covering, that's like avoiding us to come out and break out and be like, wow, you know, like this is me, you know, like there's so many people that are so powerful. You're listening today and I'm telling you, you're powerful, you're limitless, you're abundant, you know, you can be all that you can be. Nothing is impossible if you feel it in your heart and you see it in your brain. And you know, what is it for you that it's going to allow you to break out? And as I listen and I see you, Mel, it's like that confidence radiates because you accepted yourself. You accepted your personal being, right? And you didn't allow anyone on the outside to tailor it. You didn't allow anybody on the outside to come and be like, no, sit down, right? And it's like, once you just started to discover that it was self-love that was going to allow you to be all that you can be, right? Like you just, it's like you take the keys and you drive, right? You drive away with it. And so it's so empowering to be able to hear, right, that it's one decision, one choice. And then, it's being able to be in that self-discovery that, once you untap it, right, you start to play with it, right? Like you start to discover yourself. And when you're okay with that, I mean, I notice it when you're in the room, right? Like even in a room, it doesn't matter if you're successful or not successful, everything has to do with what you think of yourself. And so when you walk in the room, like you see people who are walking, like a little hunchback in, like slow. You kind of are not looking around at anyone directly or anything like that. And when Mel walks in the room, it's like, hey, it's like, it isn't like, who's here? What are they going to think of me? Are they going to say hi to me? Are they not going to say hi to me? It's like you own and yourself and you step into that power and you love yourself, 1000%. And so everything that you said was so empowering. And for everybody listening, it's like, going into this week, going into Christmas, going into the new year, what are those actions, right? First of all, don't start off on January the 1st. Like, don't try and do that, right? Because it ain't going to happen. It's what I'm going to do tonight. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do this week that is going to allow me to step into my power, right? And start feeling that good. Start feeling that, oh my goodness, like I'm doing this. So Mel, what would be those 2-3 tips, right, that you could give our girls as, we wind up this year, as they go into this Christmas where, they could start feeling that power, for themselves?
So good. And thank you, Jerry, for acknowledging me. And just when you get to feel that, it's just more and more belief poured back into me on like, let's keep going, right? Because I still have those limiting beliefs that come up too, that still get in the back of my head of, am I not good enough? Or is this who I should be? Or am I doing enough? And so thank you for even saying that.
You're radiant and beautiful.
I just love you. Okay. I've got two parts to this. Okay. I've got a tip for you that I feel like you can do every day. Something every single day. Doesn't matter if this is day or night, whenever you're listening to this episode. And then I have an actual exercise you can sit down and do probably like once every 90 days, something every 6 months, something I love to do definitely every 90 days. Okay, so here we go. The first tip that I want to give you, and this is for all women, especially if you're going to be around family members and people that you haven't seen around the holidays and the new year. This is the first thing, and this is for all the women, and I'm calling you out. Accept the compliments. You're going to see family members, you're going to see coworkers, you're going to see people, and they're going to be saying something to you. You look so beautiful. I love your outfit. You look amazing. Have you been losing weight? You look like you're glowing. Listen, accept it. Say thank you so much. Because I think that was one of the first things I got to work on with myself, was to stop discrediting what someone else was trying to gift me. Think of it as they're literally walking up to you with a gift and you're going like, no, thanks, don't want it. No, we get to learn how to receive that and give that back to ourselves. So if someone says you're glowing and you're ready to say thank you so much, and maybe you feel like you want to give them a compliment back, accept it, okay? The second thing I want to give you for an all day, everyday thing, you are going to catch yourself and those around you when anyone starts to use those words. Okay, I have 3 of them for you. And if you hang out around me long enough, you'll know them, okay? The first one is try. Anyone says, I'm trying. I say, do you try to do your laundry? No, you do it. You do it or you don't do it, right? There's no try. I tried to put it in the wash. No, you either put it in the wash or you didn't, right? So try. We're eliminating it from the vocabulary. And I would empower you to encourage people around you that are talking to you to do the same thing, because people around you are influencing you. So if you're in my bubble, you want to come up to me and say, Mel, I'm trying a new workout. I'm gonna be like, you're either doing it or you're not. You're like, okay, I'm doing a new workout. Great, I love it. Be in my circle with that type of verbiage, right? The second word is should. We are not shoulding, okay? There isn't, I should do that. I should do this. I should drink my shake. I should get back on the wagon. I should. It's either we're doing it or we're not, okay? And the last one is have to. I have to work out before it's Christmas Day. I have to work out before this. I have to go have my shake. I have to let the dog out. I have to do something for the kids. I get to do those things. And as soon as you just start recognizing those small, subtle changes in your verbiage, and this is an everyday, every moment exercise, you'll start changing the conversation inside of you, which will start to raise that vibe even more. Okay. So that's an everyday. Here's my exercise. This one's fun. Okay. Piece of paper. You are going to write down this next level version of you persona. Okay, it's not you. It's not you yet. You're going to write it down as if you are just idolizing and looking up to this woman, and you're like, this woman, and you're going to write it out. I know you're already feeling it, Jerry. You're like, oh
yeah. I need a poster.
Yes, this woman, what does she wear? What does she talk like? What does she smell like? How does she walk into a room? How does she make others feel? How does she feel? Who is she surrounded by? Who does she want to be surrounded by? What does she want to do in the world? All these things, just let your mind go. And what I want you to do after you have this whole persona written up, you have to name her, okay? So I've got a Melance, we know Beyonce. I got a Melance persona. So as I'm learning to practice this new version of myself, I can tell myself, turn on Melance, okay? And maybe you've got a Freakum Dress song that you turn on, okay, right before you walk into a room, or before you get on a Zoom call, or before you go do your workout, or whatever it is. You turn on that girl's theme song, and you tell yourself, Melance, here we go. And I want you to, you're going to go show up as that person, and you're going to know exactly how, because you've just written it all out. Sometimes it's easier for us to name that way of being as we're learning to embody it. And then over time, you're gonna be like, holy shit, this is actually me. This is actually who I am. Now I'm ready for the next version, and the next version, and the next version. So it's such a fun exercise. And you know what? When you do this exercise, you better screenshot this episode, and I want you to write your new persona's name on it so we can know who you are. And maybe if you want to put your little theme song over it on Instagram story, you know, the song, the name, screenshot of us, because I would love to.
That's so fun. Yes. Hell yes. Hell yes to that.
Yes, I love it. So that's all I got, Jerry.
Oh my goodness, Mel. Oh gosh. Thank you so much. All the way from Texas to California. A big hug to you for sharing with us on this episode, everything about being your true, authentic self inside of our self-love transformation. Thank you so much for being here. And for everybody listening, this concludes episode 11. Make sure to do that activity and tag us. Like, don't only tag the episode when you're listening to it, but once you've done the activity, we'd love to hear from you. Tag us on social media, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.